Actions will wreak untold damage on households, businesses, and financial markets across the world, upending a global economic order.
We thought at that point, so I guess we always know there's a risk of unpredictability with the president, but did we expect this? Absolutely not.
Our hosts around the world, and again, we're their number one customer, and they need to start respecting their number one customer.
That one not caused by the biggest financial catastrophe since the Great Depression or a global pandemic that's killing millions of people. That one caused simply by Donald Trump being president.
Across grocery aisles, trading floors, and political circles, the news quickly spread. Donald Trump's most recent tariff gamble had finally backfired.
To enact sweeping tariffs on U.S. trade partners will go down as one of the greatest acts of self-harm in American economic history.
What started out as a brazen statement that America might use force to subdue its biggest trading partners has instead become a case study in economic backlash. Canada recently left the negotiating table, domestic prices are rising, and American companies are preparing for the effects.
Foreign prices on steel are increasing. U.S. prices of steel will increase because U.S. producers have no incentive to keep prices low. So
to figure out how to destroy the economy of the richest nation on earth. But that's not how it's working out. Turns out it doesn't take a big idea.
Clearly shaken, Trump erupted in a barrage of venomous comments, denouncing the actions as betrayals and unfair attacks on American workers. The markets, however, conveyed a different message behind the rhetoric. Overnight, food prices surged, steel prices soared, and tiny businesses worried they might not make it through the next several months.
Was creating havoc and disruption as well. So this sort of doubles down the urgency, if you will, and accelerates the job losses.
Actions will wreak untold damage on households, businesses, and financial markets across the world, upending a global economic order.
The argument over tariffs was no longer merely theoretical. It was now affecting the average American's pocketbook. Trump started the tariff war by pledging to protect American industry by imposing high tariffs on Canadian imports, which included everything from dairy and vegetables to steel and lumber. His base first cheered. It seemed like a return to toughness, a strategy to restore manufacturing dominance and rebuild American employment.
The tariffs have helped. It's given us not only the money, it's billions, trillions of dollars of money, but it gives us great power over enemies.
However, Canada, which provides a significant portion of America's consumer goods and raw materials, refused to cooperate. Ottawa redoubled its efforts, recruiting new allies overseas and tactfully leaving Trump's negotiating table rather of caving in to pressure.
Crashed America's markets and brought America and the world to the brink of a self-inflicted, on-purpose, global Great Depression.
I'm always concerned with Donald Trump because he changes his mind every single day, it seems. But we don't have to take a backseat to anyone. We should never take a backseat.
At that point, the prices skyrocketed. The already precarious home market was strained by the sharp increase in lumber for construction projects. Due of their reliance on Canadian aluminum, automakers increased prices for customers. Long reliant on Canadian agriculture, grocery businesses had to deal with empty shelves and high costs for necessities. Trump's tariff fight became an unavoidable bill for millions of Americans rather than just a headline.
The president going down that road, because every tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Damage of this magnitude with such a teeny tiny amount of thought.
Trump's response was swift and enraged. He accused Canada of backstabbing and asserted that the United States would be better off without Canadian commerce altogether at a hurriedly planned press conference. His remarks further shook the markets. Agriculture stocks fell. The Dow fell precipitously, and even his Republican friends appeared worried.
Trump's tariffs set off two-day sell-off as recessionary fears mount. More than $6 trillion erased from market.
We didn't expect it to unravel this quickly, a senator candidly said. The political price is rising. Many of the voters in battleground areas who previously supported Trump's promises of economic recovery are now personally feeling the squeeze. Midwest farmers lament that the cost of their equipment has increased. Basic supplies like bread and steak are in short supply for restaurant proprietors. Customers are left perplexed as to why groceries, which are already pricey, seem so unattainable.
Strangely self-sabotaging, quote, economic lunacy that might seem better explained by psychologists than economists.
And President Trump ran on a mandate to lower costs, to create more jobs. This is going to do exactly the opposite.
Canada, on the other hand, is not going to back down. In a well-crafted statement, Prime Minister made it clear that Canada will not be coerced into one-sided deals. The U.S. is becoming more and more isolated as Canadian negotiators work behind the scenes with the EU, Mexico, and Asian partners to cement alternate markets. This appears to be more humiliation than negotiation to Trump, who feeds on power. Experts caution that this is only the start. Inflation will increase, job losses will spread, and entire industries may collapse if the tariff impasse persists.
We thought at that point, so I guess we always know there's a risk of unpredictability with the president, but did we expect this? Absolutely not.
That one not caused by the biggest financial catastrophe since the Great Depression or a global pandemic that's killing millions of people. That one caused simply by Donald Trump being president.
Layoffs are already being reported by small industries that rely on imported metals. Instead of winning, American consumers are learning about the hidden costs of protectionism. It will outlast Canada, according to the White House. However, economists point out that the United States cannot just go it alone without incurring significant costs.
Causes problems with our access to the United States, but much steel around the world will be looking for new markets and will be targeting Canada.
And the scale of what he's doing, the scale of the destruction that he has wrought, is a little bit hard to get your head around.
Trade conflicts usually end with compromises, concessions, or economic harm on both sides rather than triumphal parades. But Trump appears intent on doubling down, which increases the likelihood that this conflict will worsen.
His idea that tariffs would be a good policy for America? What was his backup for that conviction? Well, he did have backup.
Our house around the world, and again, we're their number one customer, and they need to start respecting their number one customer.
As of right now, the picture is bleak. Americans stuck footing the cost, Canadians quietly leaving the room, and Trump yelling from behind a platform. The reaction from tariffs has started, and it's more severe than anyone anticipated.
Been the lead analysis piece on CNBC.com all day. Trump's tariffs are biggest policy mistake in 95 years.
Well, first of all, I have to tell you, Canadians love Americans. We love the U.S. It's one person that's causing these problems.
How much further can Trump fight this conflict before the economic hardship compels him or the voters to concede? That is the straightforward question at hand.